Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Chess Strategy, the channel that gives you daily puzzles and studies in chess. And we like to save the hardest one for the end of the week. And since it's Sunday today when this is posted, I have saved the toughest one for you this week. And here it is. So white to play and win here. We got the pawn 2 steps away from promotion. That's the pawn up we are. But even though there's not many pieces here, we still have to think about a lot of variations before we can find the correct one. And if you like this video and you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe. And always, if you like it, press like and why not share it with your friends also. Okay, so now the standard here is that you pause the video at this point, analyze this, and see if you can find the winning variation on your own. And if not, when you return, I will show it to you. Go ahead. And welcome back. Okay, so 2 steps away from promotion. We want to promote this in order to win. Doing it right away with pushing the pawn is a very bad idea. Black will just give a check here and grab our pawn. So then we just give away our edge right away. That's not a good idea. So we're not going to do that. Moving the king closer is a good strategy, but it's too far away already. So we will not have time. This will allow black to put the king here on f4, and he's attacking our pawn from behind. Maybe we can try this to stop this rook from coming here, but the king will come to g5 anyway, and then the rook will come here and he will grab this one, and we are not going anywhere. So there's long variations in every single position here, but I'm not going to go through all of them all the time. You can do that on your own if you want to. Okay, so this seems to be crucial to stop the king from coming to f4. We do not want the black king to come closer. So the natural move here would be to put our rook on f6 to make a wall here on the f line and keep the black king away. But this is not the correct way either. Let's look at this. Black will start with checking here on e7. We can move our king closer to the pawn, of course, either to c8 or c6. Let's see c8 first, perhaps. King comes to e4. We attack the rook. It ends up on h7. And the king cannot come from the 8th rank. We cannot move the rook away because we will lose the pawn. So we cannot really do anything here. We're just blinded. We can try something like this. The king will attack us, and now, well, if we go away, try to keep this one. The king comes closer, and voila, we're gonna lose this pawn. So that's not a good idea. Okay, let's start again. If we instead try the king to c6 in this variation, black will play king e4 again. Now we are attacking the rook, and we're also blocking the king from coming here, but still it's not good enough. Black will play the rook to h7, stop our pawn. Perhaps we want to get our king even closer and keep the black king away. Looks like a good idea. Black will simply just move away the rook here. And look at this. We are trapped here. If we move the rook something like this, there will become a check and we will lose the pawn. And of course, the same goes if we push the rook to f7. So we cannot, like this, we cannot really move the rook. We can go here, but then we will allow the black king to come a little bit closer, and we haven't achieved anything. And we don't want to move the king away, of course. And black can just simply go back and forth between h7 and a7. And again, we are reaching a dead end. So let's start from the beginning. And here comes the correct starting move. We have to start with a check on a3 with our rook. And we said we do not want to stop. We don't want to allow the black king to come to f4. And here we are doing exactly that. But there's the thing to this. If now black plays king f4, we have a very nice move. And if you haven't seen it up to now, you can pause the video again and see if you can find it this time. Yes, here we go. If it does that, we have a fantastic rook sacrifice. We're pinning the rook like this. Of course, black is forced to take, otherwise we will exchange and the pawn will promote here. And then we push h7, and the rook cannot stop the pawn. The king cannot stop the pawn either, of course. He can give some checks. We just push to c7. We cannot go up like this and allow rook b8. And black will just keep on checking until we reach f7, and now it's stopped. We will get a queen, and a queen versus a rook is a winning endgame. Even though it's not easy, it's a winning endgame in the book. Okay, so that means after the rook a3 check, black is forced down to f2. Of course, we want to come closer to the h file, so there's no way of looking at moving the king away. This is just not good enough. After that, the natural move comes here, rook h3. We put our rook behind our pawn. We want to push it 2 steps here. If black attacks our rook, we will ignore it and push h7 anyway. You see here, of course, that this will now become a queen. So there's no time for black to attack our rook. Instead, it's forced to play rook e7 and going for the rook h7 block. Okay, here's another chance. In this position, again, there's only one move that leads to victory for white. Can you find it? Pause the video if you need. And welcome back. So, our mission here is to block the black king from coming up here. So we are forced to play the king to c6. We cannot go down to the 8th rank. We do not do anything good from there. We have to go up here and just move our king to the right place. Black is now again forced to play rook h7. Same if he tries to attack our rook, we just push our pawn and win pretty quick. So he will come here. Nothing strange here, that we will continue our king to come closer. Now black can attack our rook. We play the natural move, rook h5, and he starts hunting our rook. Okay, so good so far. Now it's another chance. I don't know if you want to pause the video all the time, but here is again only one move that wins for white. So pause the video if you need to. Otherwise, I will show you here. The king is we keep on getting it closer, but it has to come to e5. It cannot go to e6. And why this is, I will circle back to that. Remember this position. I will show you soon why we have to put it on e5 and not on e6. Because after black is attacking our rook, we move down to h1. He comes up, and it seems like we are losing our pawn here. But now we have the ideal position with the king versus the king on the same rank. That's why we had to have it on e5, not on e6, because we have a tactical finesse here. And here it comes. We get the check on g1. And look at this. If black now grabs our pawn, what will happen? I think you all see it. We simply play the king to f6. And he cannot stop the checkmate or losing the rook like this. So this is impossible for black to go into this variation. He cannot grab our pawn. And now, after we've seen this, we can look at what would have happened if we would have went to e6 instead of e5. Same variation, and this. And when we check, black still cannot grab on h6, but since we are not blocking the king fully, he can just come to f4, and now he's threatening to take this pawn. And if we protect it, he will just go back, and this will be a repetition draw. And this is pretty easy to see also that it's not leading anywhere. The king cannot really come any closer. The rook is trapped here on g6, so it's not working. So therefore we are forced to play exactly king e5 here and go into this variation, and the check comes. Now if you cannot grab here, is trying to play king h5 perhaps, and now we simply push the king to f6. Again, we need to make sure black doesn't take this pawn with the king. If he grabs with the rook, then we can just go back to f5, and now again it's going to be checkmated or losing the rook. And let's go back a little bit and see why we have to play exactly king f6 and not king f5. Because if we play king f5 instead of f6, yes, black cannot grab here. We will play king f6 then, and we will win. And he cannot grab with the rook because of the checkmate. But black has another option here. That is to first play the rook to f7 check, forcing our king away, and then he can just move away the rook. Now he's threatening to grab here. If we give a check to support it, well, we allow his king to come here. The rook will come back, and we will lose our pawn here. And also we cannot do something like this because of the simple check here on a6 first, and then grab with the rook or the king. Doesn't really matter. So that will be a draw. Okay, so I think I covered everything here, didn't I? I guess so. If I missed something, please let me know. Let's do a small recap. First, a check. We cannot go up here due to the brilliant rook sacrifice. Instead, the king is forced to f2. We come to h3. Black will be forced to put his rook here to stop. And we just keep on pushing. Let him hunt our rook. We put the exact king space on e5. Another hunt, something like this. We check. We cannot grab. Try something like this. And king f6. And we will get a check here, the next move. Or something like this. It's threatening checkmate. This is winning because we are threatening a checkmate, or other stuff, something like this is also, of course, winning, obviously. All right, thank you for watching this long video. It's a Sunday, so I hope you had the extra time to go through this, and I hope you managed to solve it in the end. Tomorrow we'll have a two-mover ready for you. It's a little bit of stress release after a long week. Thank you, and bye-bye.